IBM's Vice President of Innovation, Bernie Meyerson, joins us now from New York. So, Bernie, first of all, happy birthday.
Thanks. Doesn't feel anything like 100.
And secondly, how does a company survive 100 years making so many different kinds of products in technology of all industries?
Well, there's a tremendous challenge involved, obviously. Basically, it's real easy. You simply keep reinventing yourself and constantly innovating. You have to understand that the pace of our industry is so extraordinary that if you want to measure it, if I was my present height, 6'2", and stood in front of my house in '55 when we started shipping our servers, compared to what we have today, if I grew in height at the rate those servers grew in capability, I'd look down, see the moon come around the Earth and whack me in the ankles. So needless to say, to keep up with that pace, you have to innovate and innovate and innovate, and that requires reinventing yourself constantly.
You decided to sell the PC business 5 years ago. I'm sure that was a hard decision to make. Is part of innovation learning how to let go?
Precisely. You need to move on. When you're making the sort of investments we make in profound innovation, we're talking of order $6 billion a year just in research and development, you need to move on and define the future, not chase it. And that is an incredibly difficult and challenging thing to do, requiring you step your game up at every possible opportunity.
All right, I want to bring in Cory Johnson now, our editor-at-large. Cory, your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting when you look at the valuation. We're talking a lot about valuation right now and the notion that this might be another bubble, some of these companies coming out. I look at Netflix, a company that's innovated quite a bit and grown quite a bit, is trading at 74 times earnings. One way to look at that is it would take 74 years of the current earnings to break even on a single share of stock. You guys, by comparison, are trading like 12 or 13 times earnings. When you look at the way that companies survive, besides throwing out some of the old things and spending money to find some new things, what is it that when you look at the history of IBM makes you think about certain kinds of innovation need to stay with the company to find products around it? How do you make those kinds of decisions and find those types of innovations?
It's a tremendous challenge. What you wind up having to do is first build a culture that it encourages that. You have to build a culture of risk-taking. In spite of IBM's enormous size, we actually take on what we call grand challenges, things that are just unimaginable to folks. You look at some of the things that we've done, whether it was creating this support system.
But Bernie, you say that, but all right, you know, here's a grand challenge, the iPad. I mean, those kinds of innovations are coming from other companies outside of IBM. Do you guys look at that and think we should have done that, or we did that and didn't sell it well? How do you react to those kinds of innovations throughout the technology industry?
Understood, but you have to remember, I'm talking about something on an entirely different global scale. I'm talking about, for instance, looking at a city and literally proactively predicting the future in the city and then ameliorating it, mitigating it, and improving it. It's on a scale that's unimaginable. You're talking about a point product. I'm talking about a solution. Literally, for instance, mapping the traffic patterns in a city for an entire year and then taking the learning, the models, predicting, let's say, 20 minutes from any given moment what the traffic will look like. And if you see an impending traffic jam, altering the entire environment of the city to prevent it from ever happening. That's on a scale that you can't compare to a laptop device. It's a very different problem.
All right, Bernie Meyerson will be watching you over the next, hopefully, 100 years.